So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this beatbox sound that I made. Actually, let me just do it from scratch. Let's do it from the beginning so we can just see how we did this before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my iPhone here, and I'm going to record some samples. Let's use a different app. I'm going to use one called Voice Recorder. And Voice Recorder, I've got Voice Recorder set up to record WAV files. So it's not going to record MP3, it's going to record actual WAV file. So I go in here and it looks cool. It looks like a little tape machine thing. That's pretty nice. I'm going to just hit record on this, record some sounds. You can see the little tape heads are moving there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but they're moving. So I'm going to record this, and we're going to record boom, bap, kss, bloop, boom. Cool. Stop that. We're going to save that as, save as. Give it a name. Tony Mouth. Drums. Drummy drums. Hit done. And save that. So now I got that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to send that. I'm going to share it. I can upload it to the cloud. I can do all sorts of stuff, but I'm going to go ahead and share the WAV file. It's not very long. It's only 25 seconds. I'm going to email it to myself, and or I can just airdrop it to myself because I'm on the same network and everything. But I'm going to go ahead and email it to myself to my SAE email address. Hit go on that, and we should be good to go there. Now, let's just put you on break time again real quick so y'all can't see my email. Sorry, I know my email is probably pretty exciting stuff. Hi, TTV. How you doing? I'm going to go in here to my email and I've got like sending out an SOS in my head this morning for some reason. My mouth drums, put this in my samples folder. Where's my samples folder? Is it there? No. Okay. So over here, I can make it so y'all can see this again because you can see this email. Thanks, man. All right, so I'm going to go into my sound, into my samples, my Tony samples, mouth drums. We're going to call this one mouth drums. I named them both. Oh, this is a WAV file, so it's okay. So I'm going to download this, save the file. There it is. Boom. Okay. So I have this sample in here, and what I'm going to do is let's drag it into Ableton Live. I'm going to drag it in right there. Boop. Mouth drums. Now I've got this file in here. Whoa. Why does that look like that? Hold on. Let's see what that sounds like. That does not sound good, does it? Weird. Huh. It did like a weird feedback thing. All right. Can you all still hear me? Is everybody okay? Is everybody there? Yeah, I don't know why it would do that. Hold on, let's quit out of Ableton Live. That's not fun. Never had that happen before. Crazy. All right. Here, let's just see what this actually sounds like in here. The mouth drums, not now. Of course, the sounds. You can see the little tape heads are. Looks okay in here. Weird. Let's try that again one more time. Share the audio. Sorry, Nico. Sorry about that, buddy. I have no idea why that happened. Let's try this again real quick. Yeah. Let's see. You know what I'll do? I'll mute you guys. There we go. So now you can only hear what's coming through from my microphone. And you can't hear my computer. How about that? Put y'all in break time, but you can still hear my voice. Let's see here. There's this. Mouth drums again. Let's see what happens when we do this. Download this file, save the file. Sending out an SOS. Okay. Breaking for pandas. Well, here, well, we can quit out of Pro Tools. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but we can quit out of Pro Tools and let's put it back into, let's open up Ableton Live again. Here y'all can see what I'm doing again. Breaking for pandas? Huh? Actually, that's a great band name. Wow. Really weird. Okay, I'm not gonna play that. That's just gonna hurt me. Let's see, maybe it's share. Let's share the video? Wait, what? Okay, well, apparently this application no longer works. That's really weird. It doesn't seem to like the audio file here. Let's just send it to my waiting. Sent. Open. Okay, that's working. Interesting. Show in Finder. Weird. It sounds all right there. Hold on, let's drag it into, yeah. Seems like it doesn't like Ableton right now. Here, let's see what happens. Okay, it's because it sounds fine coming from my iTunes. What is going on? Ableton Live, what are you doing? Okay, that's okay. I know what to do. I don't know why that's doing like that, but I know what to do. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna show here in library, go to current song. Go to file, convert. Well, you could just convert it to the MP3 version. That's not a big deal. Boom. Now, this one here, show in Finder. Here's my MP3. Stop it. And let's turn you guys back on. There we go. So now you can hear stuff again. And hopefully, yeah, let's do that. Put that keyboard there. Mouth sounds. What would Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson do? He would probably, what? Oh, you know what he'd do. I know the answer to that. You know the answer to that. What would he do, AJ? What would he do? All right, he would definitely restart, right? I know that's where you're going with that. We've all seen the same movie. All right, here we go. I didn't need to restart. I got this. Turn it off. Yeah, restart it, turn it off, turn it back on. All right, so I don't need to do all that. I got this right here. Now it looks like a normal WAV file. That was really weird. Record some sounds. Okay. You can see the little heads are moving. So I got this here. I'm gonna turn my warp off here. And what I'm gonna do here is hide some of this stuff. I'm not sure why all that happened, but whatever. I'm gonna go over here and we got these sounds here. Now I can see this and see what's cool about this is I can use my mouse here to move around on it and I can hit boom. And there we go. So there's that. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna name this one bass drum TG mouth bass drum. Actually, let's flip that around actually. Bass drum TG mouth. There we go. I'm gonna pull this down. Boom. And we're gonna go ahead and just grab that over there. And with this next one here, we're just gonna go over to here. And I'm just gonna quickly do this with these sounds here. And move them over. And this is how I would do this with Ableton Live. And one of the things I really like about this is just it's bigger. I can just see what's going on. I can do the same thing in Pro Tools. It's not like this is definitely something I can do in either one. So got this sound here. Okay, so this one here is a bap. Bap. And this one here is a closed hat. Excuse me, that was the sneeze. This is an open hat, but I held it in so I'm not blasting y'all out. What's this one? Oh, this is a click, cluck. This is, oh, that's cluck 1. And this one is cluck 2. Make sure to always name this stuff. This is a brr. And, oh, and this is a disco sound. Disco. All right, cool. So I have all these. You're back. Awesome. So we got this here. So I got these sounds. And what I'm going to do is just go ahead and edit the end points of these. And I'm not going to edit them all the way to where they need to be. I'm going to edit them a little bit further out because I can do the final edits inside of my drum rack. But I'm just going to get them like pretty good. Make sure we've got a little bit of beginning and end there to kind of mess around with stuff. And I'm just going to drag these over like this. And again, this is really nice because we're on a really big screen here. And I can actually make this even bigger. I could make it bigger. I can zoom in, all the things like that. You'll notice my cursor is doing a little bit of weird stuff, but that's because I've got this red ring around it. It doesn't do that stuff normally. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all these. And I'm going to right click. I'm going to go crop. So I just cropped all these clips. So now they're all shorter. And you can see there's a little bit of beginning and end on them. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in here to my MIDI track. I'm going to throw a drum rack on here. Grab the drum rack, drag that onto the clip, onto the track. And I got this drum rack here. And I'm going to take all these sounds, highlight them all with holding shift click, and drag them in here. Boom, like that. So now, there we go, we got all these sounds. And now I can go in here and I can edit these. I can click it up like this using my simpler, and I can go in here and I can edit stuff. And you can notice that it's a lot easier. I can zoom in and move this around. I'm gonna turn the snap off. Don't want the snap. They all have the snap turned on, so you'd have to do that one by one. I'm going to go in here, get a little bit of a fade out. Awesome. Turn the snap off and just go through and edit this. Now, this is definitely not quite as powerful as that as Falcon. You can definitely do more in Falcon. Well, to a point. I mean, it seems like you can do more in Falcon. It's kind of like Falcon's kind of like Contact in a way, where you can just do a lot of stuff. But usually when you're editing sounds like this, you don't really need to have to do all that amount. If you just wanted to make like a quick, you know, mouth sample beatbox, you don't need all that power. And that's why it's really nice to have something like this at your fingertips to quickly just drag, just kind of do stuff. Move this over, zoom in a little bit, get it nice and tight there. Okay, and what I'm doing is I'm taking out all the room noise, all the extra noise that's on it, and I can put some room sound back in with my with a reverb or something like that on the track, or send it to a reverb as a send effect, which would be the proper way to do it. There we go. So now this kick drum needs to be a little bit louder. There we go. Maybe not that loud. I'll just turn my... Cool. Awesome. So I've got that there, and I can go ahead and put in a quick little drum beat. Now, if you wanted to do what we did before and I wanted to double up this kick drum with another kick drum sound, well, first of all, let's find the kick drum that we want. So I'm just going to go over here to my browser, and let's go into Sample Magic. Let's go into Analog House, and let's get some drum hits. Let's see what's in here. Okay, I kind of like raw here. What I'm going to do is in here, I'm going to put an instrument group. And so I've got two instruments in here. And so we've got the bass drum, the mouth one here as one. And the way I made that instrument group is I hit Command G. I just open up the rack, and I clicked on the instrument, the device here, and I just hit Command G, and it makes an instrument rack. And now I'm going to drag this in and do this. Now, that would not at all be obvious that you can do that. This is definitely something that's a more advanced thing that I've, because I've just been using Ableton Live for a while. There we go. Now I can adjust the level here. Cool, so there we go. Turn that volume down there. I don't need it to be that loud. Cool, there we go. So now I can make a little drum loop with this. Wow, you are very fast. Let's make 90 BPM. Chord quantization on. Cool. I'm just going ahead and put this in here. And duplicate this loop so it's twice as long. Put this in at the end. Oh, whoops. Hold on, let's start this over here. Cool. Turn these ones down a little bit, probably. Cool. All right, and we have a little thing like this, and basically it's very similar to what we just did. But one of the cool things about this is because I'm using my drum rack now, I've got a little bit more control over stuff for drums. This is great for drum stuff. Let me just show you one more way to kind of do all this. We're going to do this one more way in Ableton Live. That's one way to do it. That way actually might be a little bit of the long way. Let me show you another way that's super cool, that's nice and fast as well. I'm going to drag my mouth drum beat loop back in again, and what I'm going to do is this, and this is, you kind of have to watch carefully, is I'm going to go ahead and put warp markers in where I want my samples to be. So I'm just going to go ahead and double click on these little, you remember the is your transient markers here, and then we can double click them and put a warp marker. So I'm just going to go ahead and put warp markers in each one of these. Take this one out from here, take the one off from the beginning. And I can just double check these are where I want them to be by going in here and clicking on it, and I can hold Option and hit my arrow key to get to my next, to get to the next one. Cool, looking pretty good. That one's not okay, so I'm gonna hold down Shift and move. Let's get rid of that one, and I'm gonna hold Shift and put the move the transient over. If you hold Shift, you can move that transient around. I'm just gonna put a warp marker back on it. Boom, there we go. Let's get to the next one. Yeah, you can see that one's not good either, so I'm just gonna get rid of that. Double click it to get rid of it, and then hold Shift and drag it over. Nice. Some of these were not great, but that's okay. Cool. Oops. Okay, and I'm using my holding Option and arrow keys to kind of to move around. Whoops. Where'd that go? Put that back. Oh, I see. Put that there. Boom. Get over to this next one here. There we go. We're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah, we're getting there. Almost done. And the hardest part really is just making these adjustments here. And now I've got all these adjustments here. Check this out. This is what I'm going to do next. I'm going to right click on it and do Slice to New Midi Track. This one right here. I right click and I do Slice to New Midi Track. And it asks me, how do I want to do this? I'm going to do one slice per warp marker because I just set these warp markers up. It tells me, okay, it's going to be 9 slices. So I hit go. Now it automatically makes a drum rack for me, and each one of these already has the samples in there. I'm going to get rid of the first one because it's not useful at all. And I can put this one down here. You're too weird. There we go. There we go. Cool. I'm going to turn this loop off. And it automatically kind of puts them all in there for me. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is you just take this one here, this audio file here, and just literally drag it onto a, let's just get rid of all the stuff in the beginning and the end just real quick. Here I'm going to turn off my warp and just get rid of that stuff there. Right click to get rid of it all, just all that extra me talking in the beginning. And now I'm going to take this whole thing, I'm going to turn my warp back on, make a new MIDI track, and I'm just going to literally drag this file onto the MIDI track, and it puts it into a simpler instrument for me. Put it into my simpler instrument, and check this out. I can hit slice, and it will automatically slice up by my sounds here. It's a little bit, it's kind of going a little bit nutty here, which it doesn't usually do. Slice by transient. Let's put manual. Let's put some slices in by hand. And I can go through and I can just slice it up like this, and it automatically puts it across keys on my keyboard. Where are we? And it automatically does that. So there's a few different ways to do it in Ableton Live, and this is what I was talking about, that Ableton Live is really a kind of a drum, not a drum, it's kind of like a sampler instrument, because there's a whole bunch of different ways we can do this in Ableton Live and get this done. Now, all the stuff we just talked about actually is in today's notes, because I didn't think we were going to get to this today, but we did. So let's go and take a look, a peek at the notes. I'm going to go up here to preview and go to Live Simpler. There we go. So let's just take a look at this since we're getting into it here. So Simpler is Live's basic sampler. It can only accept one sample at a time. It's not multi-samples. You can't do multi-samples with it. And it has 3 different modes: Classic, One-Shot, and Slice. Classic mode is like your normal sample mode. What's cool about it is you can also do loops with it. So if you want to have something with loops, you can use Classic mode. But again, Simpler is very, very simple, as the name suggests. One Shot is good for drums. It just plays the sample from the beginning to the end, and it doesn't stop or do anything fancy. It doesn't do loops. It's just a one shot. And this is what we call drum samples. Anything that you want to just play and play it all the way to the end is just a one shot. And then we have Slice, which easily slices the audio to different keys for playback. And that's just the one I just showed you just now. If you're using a drum rack in Ableton Live, you'll notice that every cell has a simpler instrument in it. These are all simpler instruments, and they're all set for one-shot mode right here. And what that means is that it plays that from beginning to end. If I play it short, here, if we watch my hand here, if I play it short, it doesn't matter. If I hold it down, it doesn't matter. You can see the light flashing there when I hit it. See how it's just really short or long, right? It doesn't matter at all. It just is going to do it. And that's what the drum rack does. So the drum rack does that, and it's just a simpler instrument in there. Whereas the slice mode over here that we used, in slice mode, if I put the sample in there, you can see it's going to slice it. And I'm slicing it manually right now, but you can also slice it by transient. So if I grab a sample, let me just grab some kind of a beat loop or something. We'll go in here to this, and let's go to the chord loops in here. Okay, so here's some chords, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag them in, and I'm going to drop them right there. Boom. And now I'm going to go in here to slice mode, and automatically it's going to slice it to my automatically slices it up to my keys on my sampler, which is pretty darn cool. It's super, super fast. So I've got this beat going, and I just want to go ahead and play. Let's put another sound in here. Let's find another sound. Let's find a drum, let's find some percussion sounds to throw in there. So this is okay, this one's pretty cool. So what's cool about this stuff is that I can just go through, and I'm not listening for the rhythms necessarily, I'm more listening for the sounds. So let's say I like some sounds that are in there. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag it in here and drop it into where it says drop instrument here. I'm going to go over here and hit slice, and now go in here. Right? Cool. Just make sure that's a 2-bar loop instead of a 3-bar loop. Let's go over here to one of these other ones. And I can just listen to these. Oh yeah, that one there was pretty cool. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to drag it into, make sure I make an instrument track. You got to make sure you make an instrument track in this case, because if you just drag it straight in, it's just going to drag it into make a new audio track here. So I don't want it to do that. I want it to go into an instrument track, Your instrument tracks are going to look a little bit different. I have mine set up as a different default. Yours is just going to be an empty space like this, and it's going to say drop an instrument or a sample here. Let me just make sure we're looking at the same. Okay, cool. Let me quit iTunes as well. So drop an instrument or a sample here, and what that's going to do is we are going to drop it right on here, and there we go. So it's got that there. I'm going to hit slice, and you can see what I can do is I can go ahead and get rid of some of these slices by double clicking them. And there we go. So cool. Now if I wanted to play some of these sounds, I have two choices here. I can either play it, I can put this into playback mode, put it into polyphonic, which would let me play multiple sounds at the same time, or I can go ahead and duplicate the track and just put it onto its own new track. And actually with this one here, yeah, let's go ahead and stop this one from playing. Right, so I got this here. And you can see how quickly I can just kind of get things going. Now, obviously, I've had a lot of practice with this, but I've used Logic, I've used Pro Tools, I've used Ableton Live, I've used them all, and this is the kind of quickest way to get beats just kind of going, is use in like samples and dragging things in and stuff like that, because it just, everything just kind of blends together and works together, and I can mess around with it and kind of just get things going really, really quickly. That's really one of the main reasons why I use Ableton Live. It's not for the MIDI aspects of it, although you can do some pretty cool stuff with it. It's because it's like one world that you're living in, and so far we haven't really stepped outside of that world. So when I'm doing a lot of songs and stuff like that, I actually am not really turning to third-party samplers very much, because everything I need is really right here in Ableton Live. Now, I understand that I've been going pretty quick, but hopefully you've been able to follow along a little bit here and see what I'm doing. But this is all being recorded, so you can go and check it out a little bit again later. So let's just go through our preview here and make sure we're good to go here. Oh, hey. So the slice mode, what you need to do is just make sure you clean up the sample you want to use, create a new MIDI track, insert a simpler device on the MIDI track, drag the audio clip onto the simpler, click slice mode button, and adjust the slices as needed. Now, let me show you a really cool trick you can do with this, and this works for whatever. If you're doing a remix of something, or if you just want to make your own cool percussion sounds or whatever. So check this out. This is a really neat little feature. This is something I like to do a lot. We're going to go ahead and stop this here, and I'm going to go ahead and make a new audio track. And the audio track, we're going to call it Tony Vocalizes. And check 1 2. Let's go ahead and grab our check audio from we're coming into input number 1 over here. Input number 1, mic 1, check 1 2, checkity check. Hey. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go in here and be like blah bop boo bit about bop bop da ba shoo shawataka chop pizza pot shop bada bada bop 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 beep bop. Cool. All right, so we got that there, and I've got all these like weird funky little sounds. I'm just gonna make sure I drag them all, so we've got all of them here, and I'm just gonna turn the warp off because we don't need the warp, I'm just going to grab the beginning and the end and crop that. And now I'm going to make a new MIDI track. Whoops, Command-Shift-T for the new MIDI track, or a new instrument, oh yeah, MIDI track. And in this MIDI track, drop instrument or sample here. I'm just going to take this and drag it in here and drop it down right there. I'm going to go to slice, and now I'm going to turn my sensitivity down a little bit. Or actually, well, that's not true. I'll turn it up, but I'll just go ahead and add in some extra ones in here by double clicking, and I'll move some around. If I want to, I can see it up top up here, and we can kind of see what's going on. That all looks pretty good. So now what I'll do is I will go ahead and there we go. Now you can hear it's really quiet. So what I'll need to do is to make it louder. Let's just throw a limiter on the end. Put a limiter right there. Turn up the gain. And now I've got these like weird sounds here. Okay, cool. So I can go ahead and now I can do whatever I want with this. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my drum line over here and my percussion sound. Actually, let's grab this percussion sound here. Hit play. Let's go ahead. Okay, that's kind of cool sounding there at the end. All right. There we go. Let's grab that and make that into a thing. Cool. Grab that. Make that one bar loop. Cool. There we go. And so you can just grab and you can just kind of make whatever kind of sounds, and it ends up sounding kind of interesting. I mean, it definitely sounds like, I don't know if anybody here knows Art of Noise. It has that kind of a vibe to it, but it makes it really quick to just find samples and sounds and stuff like that. So you know, you can just find sounds. And I would kind of argue that if you hadn't watched me making these sounds, it'd be kind of like, well, where's that coming from? And you can also, don't forget, you can also run these through different effects and stuff like that. So we got this. We got the limiter on it. Let's put guitar rig on here. Now I want you to notice over here the limiter. See how much it's gain reducing stuff? That would be killing us right now if we didn't have that limiter on there. It's kind of cool sounding. That one's kind of cool. There you go. You know. Cool. And don't forget, you can take it one step further. We could take this and let's record this. Let's bounce this down. Make an audio track here. Let's call this one vocal groove bounce. And we'll grab our audio from the Tony Vocalizes 1 there. And do it post effects. Hit record on this. So all I'm capturing right now is this right here. Right, so I'm going to use that there. Now what we can do with this is we can take this, use all the stuff we've learned before. Let's go ahead and transpose it up. There we go. And we can even automate that transposition. Let's put it back to 0. Cool. There we go. We're going to do it like that. There we go. Cool. Cool. All right. Nice. Nice. So that's what's up with this stuff. I mean, it's, there's a lot to unpack here. But it's all in the notes there, or it's all in the video here. Slice to new Midi. This one here we talked about earlier. This slices the audio clip by transients or warp markers and puts each new audio slice onto a pad on the drum in a drum rack. This is great for if I have like a beat loop or something I drag in here. Let's go in here to our sample magic, and let's just grab whatever, deep and bass house, and in here drum loops. So we have that there. So if I drag this onto a audio track, and then from here I right click and I go slice to new Midi, what that's going to do is every transient, to little transient markers, make sure you change it to transient, will be on its own drum rack. Turn that loop length off. So now, I have different parts of that drum loop. So I can grab just that little snare drum right there. can mix it in however much. Cool. And you can see how quickly you can do that stuff there, all right? So that's just all the instructions for that are right here. You can set up the transients or warp markers in the clip if you want to, or you don't have to do it. You can just do what I just did and just kind of leave it up to however Ableton Live defines those. All right, we're not going to talk about multi-samples today because it's like a whole different ball game. But we'll come back and talk about that tomorrow or next week. All right, so